So, hello everyone, welcome back. Uh, and I know you have gotten a little bit of shock or maybe little bit of curiosity that what is exactly is this. So, before we proceed, let me just tell you the object or whatever we will talk about today. So, as you can guess from the diagram, today I will be just, whatever we learned in this, like we learned part by part that, okay, this happens, so this, and restlessness, so I'm restlessness, and I desire for anything that can give me peace. However, I cannot find it. I have written it here. Okay, so no spoilers, right? So, but this page, this image I had to show because it's just the beginning. I would have just lost this slide if I, uh, you know, hit it. But anyways, so today, without rather we will just more like summarize in the means we will finally relate everything, even our physical reality. We would give each and every hardcore definition of how, like, what is your brain exactly, what is the physical reality, what is your body. So exactly each of them I will describe. Okay, so uh, I hope you are excited, and so let's just, without wasting any time, let's just directly continue into it. Okay. So let me use a red color pen. Yeah. So I hope you can see. I have drawn a rather, a bit clumsy diagram because, of course, I'm not very good at drawing. But anyways, this is how I managed to draw. So the drawing, the quality doesn't matter. Just the main knowledge which I'm trying to impart to you is the thing that matters, right? So this is you, except the physical reality. This is you, right? So you basically, any individual, they consist of what? I in the sense that, okay, me, ego, that kind of ego, what we call that, okay, me, ego. And the thing is, another is mind, on which dens exist. And fundamentally we are a restlessness, because we discussed this in a lot much detail. We gave so many examples that I don't even know that it's even possible to count. But anyways, uh, so this is your brain. Your brain is a part of your body. However, our interest here is to talk more descriptively on the brain, because the body, we realized, that was just a physical abstraction, right? Just a kind of illusion, you can say. uh, and physical reality is also kind of illusion. It's just rooms, abstract rooms made up of atoms and molecules. The main thing where everything exists is the brain. So although the brain is a part of our body, I will treat it as a bit separate object. Why? Because we are more interested in into learning how the brain actually, like, what is the brain actually. So inside the brain there are three components: I, or ego, me, right? Mind in the sense that, okay, the dent, I hope you remember the model, the ball, with dents, right? That irregular bouncy ball, elastic, okay, elastic ball. And restlessness is this is not something temporary. This is from the moment we were born. We were born along with this restlessness. Maybe you were born into a rich family, maybe you were born into a family who was, some particular religion, maybe you were born in a family in where you were in a particular, you were in a particular field, like, let's say, in a, someone's parents might be teachers, someone might be anything else, someone, you know parents might be criminals also, right? So that's basically, uh, for that is different, like whether you are born in India, whether you are born in USA, or whether you are born in any foreign country, that is not in your hands, obviously. So however, what is common in everyone is this restlessness. And why, we discussed in a lot more detail, and today we will also discuss. Okay, so this is your brain, and this is your body, and this is your physical reality. Physical reality, you could have drawn, trees and grass and houses, whatever. Let's say whatever physical object. Like currently, I am recording on this computer, and again I am using this mouse, right? So it's all those are the physical reality, and your body also is a physical reality, and your brain as well. Your brain is a bit. different, though it is inside the physical reality, it is a bit different. That actually whatever we function, like whatever we do, is because of this brain only, brain as a whole, and these three components merge together, right? So I have written down here, like basically the basic definitions. Exactly whatever I have mentioned here, these things I have written down. Okay, so let's just give it a reading. I hope I have made it the basic idea clear. Okay, the physical world, it consists of all animals, people, inanimate objects you see around you. It affects your body externally and uses the sense organs to do so. Yeah. So uh, as I mentioned, those might be some living beings like animals. Let's say your parents, let's say your friends, let's say your teachers, whoever. Those are your like animals, like let's say some cat or dog or people, and inanimate objects like this diary, my diary, and maybe the device you are watching on. Those are the inanimate objects, and those objects affect your body externally, right? So uh, now if I have this diary, I can feel it and I can feel a sense of rigidness, right, in this diary. However, if I take some water, and I will obviously not feel any rigidity to it. Take air, for example. Air is just not rigid, right? So they affect your body externally and uses the sense organs to do so. Yeah. So currently I'm speaking, you are hearing because you have ears. I'm speaking because of my tongue, basically my voice box, and I am seeing because of my eyes. So all this physical world is perceived by us by our sense organs, right? So let's say if I did not have the sense organs, then I would not be able to perceive whether this is my diary or not, right? So I hope this is clear. I think I have just over explained, but again, it's very useful to know each and everything from the fundamental, right? So that is the physical world, right? Body, simply your bodily organs, hands, legs, used for performing various actions. So your body, I have just, you can see your body, I hope it's very clear. Your body is just a collection of organs, digestive systems. Digestive system means just the organs, not the working itself. The working is there in the brain. Okay. After this point, I think the point is of brain, right? Okay. So anyways, the body has these legs, and these hands, and basically the body has sense organs as well, in general. So the body uses it to perform various actions. Like currently I am writing, I am drawing, scratching, then I am using my hands, and I'm seeing also using my eyes. So these are the part of the body. So basically just the bodily organs, and they are used to perform the various actions we do. Brain, this is I explained in a bit more detail, as you can see, as compared to these two. Okay, so the brain, uh, the center of your consciousness, it is like a hard disk which registers and stores input signals and controls the action of the body, right? So it is the center of your consciousness, like you are right now conscious in the sense, not in that sense that you are unconscious or conscious, subconscious mind, and all those many philosophical talks they give, like listen to the subconscious mind, and they just clickbait videos, they just do something of that. But anyways, let's not get into that. It is like a hard disk, right? So I hope you have seen, or maybe nowadays it's everything so digitalized. But let's say you have, I assume that you are going to a school where CPUs are used. So I hope you have seen a CPU, and inside the CPU there's a hard disk, basically a chip kind of thing. Uh, whatever you can think of it, you just think of that way. It registers and stores the input signals and controls the action of the body. So whenever a sense organ, as I mentioned, I hope you remember that how our that worked. Because firstly, we had this external stimuli bothering us, and this external stimuli was then viewed by the sense organs, and the sense organs put electric impulses into our brain. And in our brain they were dense. And this is the second part which I'm going to cover up till now, up to this. I'm currently in this point. After that we will again go on this restlessness, mind and ego. Okay. So now, after these electronic signals are sent from the brain to the mind, now the brain get activated, and what happens that we know, or we will talk about in a more descriptive manner a bit later. However, up to this stage, this is all the working of the brain, right? Because without the brain, the signal would not be able to transmit. So basically the brain just, let's say you are seeing this video, or let's say you are seeing this image, let's say let me draw a tree quickly. Yeah, so let's say this is a tree. You are seeing this image, your brain processes it with what already you have stored. Like basically, let's say you were drawing, or let's say you have looked around. I hope you have looked around. So then you would notice that this figure represents a tree. So your brain immediately signals the mind that okay, the person is seeing a tree. Right, in red color. Again, this is also your brain. The brain stores that whenever I see this type of color being used, I would say that it's a red color, and that's again just your memory, right? So it is like a hard disk which registers and stores the input and controls the actions of the body. Okay, so how does it control? Again, it just sends the electronic signals. So that's how it does so. It also controls the involuntary actions, most biological processes. So, biological processes like, let's say, nervous system and digestive system, all these respiratory system. Though respiration, inhalation is a active process, but still, most involuntary process like digestion, for example, it's very common. You don't have to force yourself to digest. Maybe if your organ or something is weak, you need to take some medicine to make the digestion easier. However, these are involuntary. You have no control over them, so they work by they are controlled, or they are dictated by the brain. Okay, it uses intellect to understand and recognize patterns. However, it is a tool of the mind and needs its order. Okay, so up to this, let's discuss. So, what can intellect? Let's say, if I tell you that 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, uh, okay, so how will you process it, right? So now, if I ask you immediately, what would be the next number in the sequence? So, directly you would tell that, oh, it would be 5. Why? How did you tell so? From childhood, you had been developed all this. You had this developed this sense of natural numbers, and this sum, and whenever you will see this kind of series, then the very next, let's say if I ask you another term, you will write 6. Why? Because you are conditioned to recognize this. So basically, that's what I'm calling intellect. So the brain uses intellect to understand and recognize patterns, right? So another example, let's say, uh, I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to draw a square. Please ignore the drawing, but anyways, draw a square, and then I'm going to let's say draw another bigger square, or let's say keep it. Let's keep it that, and then I draw another circle, and then I draw another square. So, what's the very next figure which I will draw? Obviously, the last figure I draw was a square. So the your brain would tell the okay, now the figure should be a circle, right? So that's again, it just uses the intellect. So I hope you remember the tools of the mind, that thoughts how actually thoughts enter our mind, how actually thoughts affect us, how the thoughts actually come from where. So it uses the intellect to understand and recognize patterns. However, it is a tool of the mind and needs its order. Yeah. So, however, the brain cannot think on its own. Now, if I give you, let's say, a very complex problem, let's say not a complex problem, let's say I give you that. I hope if you have read mathematics, then log of e ln e, sorry, let's say log base e, and let's say some other expression, cube root of some stuff. And if I ask you to solve some equation, then obviously you would get uncomfortable. Why? Because you don't have much intellect in that, or if you have, then you would be comfortable. Uh, I'm sorry that I'm assuming that you don't know that maths, but anyways, uh, I hope it's now clear. So it's a tool of the mind and need its order, right? So let's say if your mind tells that okay, your brain cannot function on your own, right? Let's say your brain sees the food, let's say some tasty food, some hot tasty food, and the smell is coming to you, and the brain registers the smell. How does the brain register? Through this nose and eyes, it registers the sense, and maybe it can use the intellect also. That previously when I ate that food, it was very tasty. So now your brain will process all this and send this to the mind. Only upon the action of the mind will you go up and actually eat this. So let's say you are currently saying one case one. Let's say you are let me use a different pen. So okay, case one, let's say you are just doing everything but that your den says. So you just the thought enters your mind and you just choose it and go directly eat it up. However, let's say you are following my series and you have just realized that following dens is useless, so you are restricting yourself to fulfill any more dens. So what you do, you choose that no, okay, I'm currently listening to this interesting thing. I currently my job is this. Basically, I should not follow this den because this is just a den. So I will reject it. So then the brain cannot act on its own. That okay, it cannot just go up and eat the food. It needs order from the mind. It needs the what can I say, the permission from the mind. So that's about brain. Your restlessness, mind, ego. After observing ourselves, we have finally concluded that we are indeed a desperation and incompleteness looking for peace, and my aim is to feel completed. So, yeah, this is just the basic thing I think we have been talking about for the past what 2 3 videos. I know it might feel a bit repetitive, but it's the truth. Like it's the ultimate truth. I don't know what else is uh, that this is the ultimate truth that even up to death, when you finally cease your so-called soul ceases, until that moment you just keep doing this. This is your core life, if I say, and core life of most of the people. Maybe a few exceptions might be there, but this is your core. You have observed yourselves. We have taken so many examples, and we have arrived at okay, yeah, I'm just a desperation. Like currently, let's say you are eating the food and watching these videos. That okay, your ego will play it like this. That okay, at least I'm doing something intellectual. Okay, so at least let's I'm going to eat, so I'm going to waste time. So let's waste time on some higher stuff. Let's waste time someone higher stuff. Maybe I know I'm a bit more intelligent than others. I know a bit more. So that's how ego will fool you. But however, what you are actually looking for is the completion. It's your aim. Your aim, if I write, some people will say no, my aim is to be a doctor, or let's say my passion is to be a singer. Your actual aim, honestly, at each and every moment and each and every point of action, completion. Again, please ignore my handwriting. Just completion. You just want this one thing. If you were complete, you would not have to be a singer. Like let's say if you already, like if you were complete. Sorry for the pause, but I had to change my place because it was a bit noisy there. But anyways, coming back to what we were talking. Uh, so your entire life, what you do, you just spend each and every second, each and every millisecond, even to look for this completion. If you want something that some particular dent, once fulfilled with some particular kind of water in some particular time, would fulfill you, right? So that's basically all you want, completion. If you were complete, you would not need money, you would not need family, you would not need a partner. If you were actually complete, right? So what are you? You are incompleteness, you are a desperation, you are a restlessness. This is inherent in each and every individual. You can even see this in animals also. Animals, they are not provided, I hope they are not provided, I expect that they are not provided with this kind of things. But that's why most animals, their job is only one. One is take care of your body, of your life. Basically survival survival. That's all. In generally, in case of animals, right? You can just look at dogs and cats, any animal you can think of. Just survival and reproduction. Yeah, so that's all. I mean, uh, if assuming that they don't get this kind of knowledge, because I don't think they get, but if they get, then that would be a great thing. Animals would also be able to overcome this loop. But anyways, talking practically, uh, what they do is they just try to survive, and just try to reproduce. They survive, make you know uh, why do they want this? Because they are again incomplete. They are not satisfied. That's why they're looking for reproduction to grow further, right? And why do they want to survive? They want to survive because they want to fulfill, they want to complete that particular dent, or fulfill that particular, what can I say, want, right? Basically there again, desperation, incompleteness, you can see even in animals. uh, though in humans have got greater freedom, that's why they can do all this and then again come to this state. However, animals have not. They, most of the cases you will just see animals stuck in these two: survival, reproduction, and the loop goes on and on. And slowly slowly we humans are becoming also like that, right? So that's the main aim, to make you really understand. Now if I talk about some, let's say, some money, earn money, and there are quotes like time is money, right? Earn money and dominate. I gave you a list of so-called what you hear from others, right? uh, my aim here just is to make you realize the truth. You are not this money. You do not want money. You want completion. If you wanted money, you would have just robbed. You would have just, stolen. But again, you want completion. You want with money. You want respect. With respect, you want fame. You want good family. You want, sex and whatnot. You want to be, let's say, famous. You want education. Again, you want to be a very, unique, creative. You want all this. These are your wants. And these are, why are these ones? Because you're looking for completion in them. Even if after you, but the actual truth you will realize, and you will feel absolutely shattered from the core, will be that time when you will gain everything. And you currently you think, okay, if I gain everything, then I will be happy. I don't even need your knowledge. Your ego will go on to fool you to that extent. Ego will fool you, fool you to that extent, that extent. And still, finally, you would realize after getting all this, it was just all bullshit. Again, you are not satisfied. You will divorce, marry another woman, and again that survival and reproduction. Same thing. Same thing. Right. So, I also written here. Uh, let me just use the eraser. Yeah. So, however, I have tried out many things, yet I have not been able to achieve that state. So, from your birth until now, tell me what you have not tried. You have tried, playing with toys as a child. You have tried playing with your mother. You have tried playing with, different uh, cards, toys. You have tried to play with your friends. You have tried to eat some good food. You have tried to make some partner, or let's say you have tried to masturbate or have sex, or you tried to gain respect. You tried each and everything. You didn't even leave self science, as I mentioned. Self science. SS, SS, self science. You didn't even leave self science currently. You just feed on everything. You let's say you chose education, you chose psychology, you chose philosophy, any subject or anything. What you have all what you have done is that you have tried to achieve this state of completion. Not only you, mm, every one of us. I am no exception. We all we all try to look for that completion. Why? Because we are internally empty. We are, there's some ball of dirt around us, not in the physical sense but in the metaphorical sense, and we don't realize that. And this, especially these big companies, I'm not going to take any names, they use this advantage, right? They use these kind of phrases, such kind of phrases and such kinds of advertisements, that your restlessness increases. Your restlessness increases, and what happens? Your resistance increases and you buy their product and they become profit, and by that they are also satisfying their own restlessness, their own dents. But again they are unhappy because they know, first of all, they know they are doing wrong. The second of all, their incompleteness hasn't been gone. They just keep wanting more and more and more. A very good example, a very good example, I just recently come across. Now it's February 23rd. So I think the previous week, it was the Valentine's week. Valentine's week it was. And it's like love, people spread love, that okay, my partner, and all those chocolate day, kiss day, and everything, that those formalities, whatever they keep, right? Whatever we celebrate. So if you just look, right, you just go on to any news article, any reliable news article, and you just, or maybe you just search on Google that how many, like what is the increase in the rate of sale of condoms, right, contraceptives during the Valentine's week. You just go and search on Google. I'm not throwing trash. I'm not speaking trash. Just go on Google, or maybe if you fear that your parents might watch it, you just go on incognito. You just search that how many this how the sale of condoms increase in the Valentine's week, like by how much percent. Let me tell you, it's more than 10%. It's more than 20. Like it's over 25%. 25%. Now you might be thinking that 25% is a very small number. It is not. Let's say previously. Uh, 1 lakh people were 1 lakh people were buying condoms, let's say previously post Valentine week. So 10%, sorry, 25% of 1 lakh people, 25,000, 20 25,000, 25,000 extra contraceptives and condoms sold during that period. Tell me, what are we trying to do? We are just merely just clear cut example that it's not love. We are just trying to satisfy our dent, our want, our incompleteness. We are just restless to somehow complete that, somehow achieve that state of completion. And do you know what's even more brutal than that? Condoms up to is okay, like not okay, but still you go and search the rate of abortion rates of babies in the month of March, right? So gestation, I don't know whether you know it or not. Gestation, it's basically development of the body, development of the, what can I say, gestation, development of the baby, right? Okay, so February, January, February, March, and within, see, just in March to April period, just see by how much the abortion rate rises, like how many pregnancies are terminated. It's clear that, again, it's just not just love, it's just trying to fulfill the desire. What can I say? Say the Valentine's Day. If you know the history, it was first proposed by Saint Valentine in much before Christ, like much years long year back. Basically, what he tried to impose was that if he saw a loving couple, like let's say they were, that was during the time of war, and there were brutal murders and bloodshed everywhere. So Saint Valentine thought, he decided to bring love into people's life, and he spread the gospel of love, the message that love everyone. However, what we have now converted into, just see, over 25% increase in condom sales, and increased pregnancy terminations in March and April. Tell me, any, just don't be blind to your belief. Just tell me, do you think really is this love, or is this just restlessness? I don't know. You should answer yourself, right? I don't know what people try to do with this. I'm not telling to hate. In my love is a very good thing, but this is not love. How can this be love? Just having sex, that's love, right? That's just doing that thing. Anyways, so what you just do is you just take care of your restlessness. You don't care about your partner. You care about feeling complete. If you were given the choice whether you would feel complete or you would live with your partner, 100 out of 100 times you would choose completion. 100 out of 100 times. However, you think that your partner will give you completion. That's why you run after this partner. Okay, so I think Let's keep this video up to it. Like it was short video, like not too much content covered, but it was very important that you know this. Like exactly what are you consisting of, and we will elaborate more on this point because it's our core. I know it's very messy. Let me just, if I see, if I can uh, clear things off. Yeah. So I hope it's just clear to you. So I think let's keep it until up to here for today because again we have to discuss it in much more detail. We obviously are not leaving it here. We are slowly progressing towards something big. And whenever I said this, I'm sure many of you their excitement level would have gone a bit up. Again, trying to find the completion. So anyways, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I was thinking of taking another, 1 hour session, but I think that the retention would be very less. So I will just think because this thing has to be explained in so much detail and with so much depth that 30 minutes is just not enough. Mark my words, really, 30 minutes. And again, it would feel like the flow. Once we enter the flow, that so-called immersion state, and I just have to break it after 30 minutes. It just feels terrible. So I'm really sorry that you have to also go through this, or rather, if you are already in, you already have access to all the videos, and you don't have to break this immersion, then con goes. But still, for me currently, it's not fully immersive because it's fully immersive as I'm talking out with vigor and energy. However, if it could be longer, it would be better. But I think I would, the next session I would take would be a 1 hour. Because 1 hour, why 1 hour? Because the maximum limit that my recorder provides is 1 hour. Otherwise, I think I can stretch for 2 3 hours. Maybe not 3 hours, but 2 hours easily because it's just so deep and so many examples I need to give. And uh, anyways, so let's not spoil anything. Then again, you would become desperate. So, yes, take care and bye bye.